Current COVID crisis is really impacting organizations. At Visier, we're doing our best to help our customers and any organizations we engage with to manage the crisis. This is a quick video to introduce some of the material we're sharing to help organizations put their people first and manage their way through this particular situation. This material shows up in Visier People, and I'm going to give you a quick highlight of what we're covering, and we will continue to expand as we work through this phase in the world. Within our guidebook, we've added some additional capacity to help people analyze the impacts on their employees. One of the first elements to look at is locations. Different areas, different parts of the world have different impacts from the virus. So we've added the capacity to organize your employees by the level of risk at specific locations. This is a configurable item, and it can be changed as risk levels changed. What that allows you to see is who do you have where. And of course, in our application, you can drill into various different areas to see how it's changing. Keeping this up to date will allow you to understand exactly how many people are where and what their risk of exposure may be. Beyond that, there's a number of other key risks. Remote work. Some organizations are able to maintain business as usual. Others are having to move to remote work. My entire organization are working from home currently and learning to adapt to that. So understanding who is able to remote work, as the risk in a location increases, so too the need for remote work increases, being able to look at that across your organization, being able to understand that from the different kinds of work that are being done, looking at different job families, different grades, different shift patterns, etc. Understanding, can this work be done remotely? What might be the impacts if it is done remotely? Understanding who is currently remote working. If they are able to, they're set up with the technology, the workflows, the support from their supervisors, etc. That's one element. And then tracking those people who are not working from the office. Being able to do things like make sure they're safe, being able to communicate, reach them with surveys, reach them with email, reach them with different kinds of virtual meeting tools. All of these elements are also broken down by supervisor. This is specifically because this group will have a heightened need to communicate, a heightened need to understand what's going on with their people, a heightened need to keep the communication flowing. So in many of these cases, we've added some quick guidance to identify the steps you should take, recommended actions. We know lots of people are processing this kind of stuff, so we want to make it easy and direct to keep this top of mind. Additional areas we're looking at is the transmission risk, and I'll go on to explain a bit more about how we're dealing with that later. Very similar to remote work, we can look at impact of travel restrictions. If you have sales team or you have individuals who go to people's homes or work sites, they are going to have their travel restricted. These restrictions are changing by geography and are changing daily. So understanding who has this, who looks after them, what those impacts might be. Do they have different ways of doing this work? All of those elements are very crucial. All of those elements can be understood through this element as we identify who is restricted, who's partially restricted, who is currently on lockdown, what kind of impact travel restrictions might be. Is it high, is it medium, low? Again, all of these elements are in the Visier application, configurable based on the rules that your business decides, rules we can help you formulate to then manage this information across the cycle. Thinking both about the immediate response, like how do we deal with the ever-changing spread of the virus currently, as well as how do we manage our way through the crisis and back to business as usual. Last area I wanted to highlight, and it is certainly sensitive, is the capturing of those who've either been exposed or who have contracted the virus. Typically, this would not be something people do. However, it is in this circumstance, the control of the spread comes very much down to identifying who has or who may be able to transmit the virus to others. So it is legitimate to ask people to self-identify, again, voluntarily report. We can't demand this data, but we can voluntarily report this data and track that across your populations, see how that's changing, see who is looking after those people, understanding the risk profile, how many people do you have in the different risk brackets, as well as tracking the self-reporting. And all of this linking back to where are people at, which location, what's the risk in those locations, as well as who is the supervisor for these people. Who do we need to make sure is having the right kind of conversations, etc. So that is a quick overview of the material that will be available in Visier People, and hopefully you will be able to work with your team to get this set up and in use.